Welcome to another episode of iSocial Talks. I'm your host, Brian Fanzo, known as iSocial Fans on the Twitters, and hopefully everyone is having a wonderful day. Today I want to talk a topic that actually has been kind of a lot of buzz, not only with the Twitter chat community that I kind of been participating with, but really a topic that's kind of close and dear to my heart. As most know that watch the show or follow me, know that I'm good friends and follow the philosophy of Ted Rubin with the idea of return on relationships and really the really true value of relationships. And I like to say even what I learned from my dad, the idea of never burning a bridge and the art of social networking and building a network and also expanding your community is really important in today's day and age and on social or pretty much anywhere you're doing, both offline and online. But one of the things I wanted to kind of bring up on this episode was really strategic relationships. And sometimes when I say that, people think, oh my goodness, you're using somebody. Well, what more I'm talking about is a lot of people, I'm in the podcasting now. Hopefully you guys are tuning in, subscribing to our podcast, hashtag SMAC, SMAC talk on all of the podcasting channels. Go ahead and check that out. Love for you guys. Give me feedback, reviews. I've co-hosted with Daniel Newman. We talk about pretty much everything, technology trends, really how everything kind of fits in the new way to work. But, the more I've been getting into podcasting, the more I've been helping and kind of mentoring some other people that are in podcasting. One of the things that I think people really don't get is that initial ask. And really when they're building a relationship, they almost, I'll kind of quote with jab, 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 right hook behind me from Gary V is, they jab and maybe they even think they jab a second time, but really they're going for that right hook way too early. And what I mean by that is, yes, someone retweeted you or coming back and said thanks. And the fact that you just reply back and say, I want you on my show doesn't really do any wonders for your relationship. And I bet you that right hook is not going to be very successful when you're doing that. So what I'm saying is actually when you have these strategic people that you want to have on your podcast, you want to have them write a blog for you. Actually, you just want them to follow you or maybe just open conversations. Don't go for that right hook too early, but also have a strategic approach about it. And I talked about in a blog post and in a previous episode where it's important to actually put on your calendar and remind you to go check in on people. There's tools like Nimble or Refresh.io on the iPhone that actually give you updates on what people are doing the last time you engage with them. I make it a point that there's groups of people. I actually have a private Twitter list of people that I routinely reach out to, share their content, engage them, ask them how they're doing. I check their LinkedIn profiles to see if they've changed anything on LinkedIn. I connect with them on Facebook to see if there's any family things going on. Really, it comes back to my philosophy of social, what I call show you care. Hashtag show you care is my social philosophy. And really that strategic relationship building starts by showing you care. If you're just that person that is, yes, someone friend requested you on Facebook or they accepted your friend request, and the first post you share with them is, I want you on my show, or did you see this? Or what I think we're doing way too much of today is tagging people in Twitter posts or Facebook posts or really even anything, an email even, that really you're overdoing it. The fact that you're going to tag someone in something every single post you do or every video that you do or, with every new podcast episode, you almost water that down. You're crying wolf. I like to say that I don't really ever ask anybody to share my content, but if there's really there's content that I really want people to not only share or find value in, I'll listen to what their problems are or listen to what they're sharing and then engage them in conversation so that we kind of talk about that. And I'll say, oh, and by the way, I also have a blog post. But jumping into a Twitter chat and saying, hey, this topic's the same as my blog post and just dropping your link, that's not strategic relationship building. That's just bombing people. That's like going into a networking event, throwing your business cards down and jumping out. So when I talk about strategic relationship building, I'm talking about if there's someone that you're seeking, someone that you want on your show, don't just go right at them. Research what they're engaging in. Research if they have a book coming up. You'll be amazed when someone is trying to promote something of their own, how easy it is to ask them to be a guest. I work with Rachel Miller on our show, Social Business Hour, hashtag SBizHour. And Rachel and I do a great job of not only thinking about guests we want to have on the show, but we also build that list out and over time try to build that relationship, strategically listen, strategically engage with them over time. So when the time is right, we can ask them to be a guest on our show. And I can tell you, we've not once had someone turn us down for being a guest. And it's not because our show is amazing, although it's been, growing, and we're really thankful for the community. Really what it comes down to is we strategically build that relationship and make the ask when it makes sense, both for them and for us. So that's my advice today on iSocial Talks. Don't think about relationships always as being, once they like me or once they follow me, now I can spam them or abuse them. Really respect their timeline, respect their time, but really respect the relationship. Make the relationship into something. If you haven't read Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary V behind me, I recommend it. It's a must read. I've bought numerous copies to share with some friends and coworkers to make sure that everyone kind of gets that idea of giving. And then when the time is right, setting up that right hook and closing the deal, getting the relationship, getting someone on your podcast, having them review your video blog. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy iSocial Talks. As always, subscribe on YouTube down below. Check out the podcast, the 2 Twitter chats that I hang out, as well as some really cool updates and new bloggers we have on our site over at millennialceo.com. With that, I hope you have a wonderful social weekend. Cheers.